So I'm Jared Baszler, Casita Coalition Policy Director here. I've got Luis Morante, who's one of our board members at Casita Coalition and also works for Bay Area Council. And here today to talk about some of the exciting legislation that is coming up through both houses right now around ADUs that we're working on. So Luis, I'll kick it over to you.
And excited to talk to you today about some of the things going on in the ADU world in the legislature. As Jared mentioned, my name is Luis Morante. I work on housing policy generally for the Bay Area Council. I'm their VP of Public Policy, and the Bay Area Council's members are some of the larger employers in the Bay Area, and they generally task me with trying to help improve housing outcomes in California. And the Bay Area Council has gone really long on ADU policy in the past. And are we're really committed to it still today. So I'm excited to be here and to be a part of the Casita Coalition. The legislature this year is sort of in its wind-up phase right now. Bills are finally coming out. The legislature convened on January, heard ideas from folks like me who lobby them, and is now sort of really considering what they're going to be introducing. And next week, we'll see the first policy committees, which is where the legislature starts whittling back all the ambitious ideas that members introduced in January and February. There are some really ambitious ideas in the ADU space that I'm excited to talk to you about today. There are sort of three main ones the Casita Coalition is supporting, and there's one main one that we are opposing.
Yeah, let's jump in with the three bills that we're working on.
Cool.
And then, go from there.
So this year, the Casita Coalition has really tried to focus in on the board's equity plan for moving forward race equity goals in the state of California as a part of small housing legislation. And to that effect, we are sponsoring, along with Bay Area Council, AB 2533. Which is a bill from Assemblymember Juan Carrillo. One of the problems that we've realized is that there are a lot of unpermitted ADUs that were built in the era before the sort of modern era of ADU legislation. And we've realized that bringing those unpermitted homes into the legal market could present a really large benefit to those communities in realized home appreciation, the fact that they can put the home on the rental market in a legal way. And so we've tried to figure out a way how we can improve the state's amnesty program for unpermitted ADUs. That's focused on two things: eliminating impact fees for low and moderate income people. It is a really tight budget year, including for local governments. So we're going to fight really hard for that. And then we're also in this bill taking a crack at building code issues. And the goal is that as long as the building is safe and habitable, that people will be able to permit it as if it was essentially equivalent to the building code today or whatever, and that we'll be able to bring it onto the market in a legal way, so it doesn't have to exist in sort of the gray space. I'm really excited about this bill. It's our top priority this year, and I think it's really important for lots of different reasons. But I'm also really excited to be working with Assemblymember Juan Carrillo on this bill. He was the author of the ADU pre-approval plan bill.
We'll jump into the next bill, which is SB 1077, which goes along with this amnesty bill in a way that helps shine light on why so many units have been built without permits. And that's due to arduous processes before state law changed, and also arduous processes that are still in place in the coastal zone. So SB 1077 is a bill by Senator Blakespear that provides exemptions from CDPs for ADUs. Still has carve-outs for the things that make sense, where there's sensitive habitats and coastal bluffs and all the kind of call-outs that are already there. But it really takes a look at one of the reasons why we have illegally built units in the first place, and it's because of the lengthy and uncertain costs and process that goes along with coastal development.
And then the third bill that we're working on is SB 1211 from Senator Skinner. This one is one that I might hand over to Jared to describe a little bit more, but it helps improve on the state's multifamily ADU law. In particular, for example, it says that, if you have to replace a carport or something like that, you don't have to actually replace the parking that the carports provided. And then it says you can build 2 ADUs on the multifamily site, or up to 25% of the multifamily building.
Yeah.
There's some other important aspects in there. So maybe Jared, I'll hand it over to you because you're such a technical expert on that bill.
Yeah. So this is a bill that is really looking to provide additional flexibility on multifamily sites, acknowledging that not all multifamily sites are built the same and don't always have the ability to add up to that 25% through conversion. So what this does is it allows for that 25% cap to be spread over either conversions or detached. Add them together, get to your 25%. Does not change the base, 1 conversion and 2 detached that you get on multifamily, but it does allow you to now take that 25% and spread it out over multiple areas on the site rather than just within inside the existing building. And when we are replacing covered parking carports or uncovered parking now, that parking does not need to be replaced. So it helps kind of clarify some stuff in existing law, but also expand some flexibility for multifamily properties.
So AB 3057 from Assemblymember Lori Wilson of Solano County would create the same exemption for, so current law gives a local government a CEQA exemption for adopting an ADU ordinance, but it does not do that for a JADU ordinance. And this bill would create the CEQA exemption for JADU ordinances. Jared has also been a big champion of changing state law to allow JADU ordinances to be more permissive than what state law currently prescribes. But that is a good one. SB 1164 is a bill from State Senator Josh Newman of Orange County that would say that ADUs that are classified as new construction would have a 15-year exemption from the property tax reevaluation scheme for Prop 13, which would essentially act as a de facto property tax incentive for building an ADU. I'm unsure if this one's going to go anywhere, in part because I think it actually conflicts with how the state's constitution says that property tax is to work in California. But this could be a really big one for folks and could really act as an incentive for more business. So it's one that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on. And those are it. That's it. Those are the main ones. There's always stuff that kind of pops up in session, but those are the ones that are kind of on deck now. We're also pretty heavily engaged in SB 477, which is a bill from the Senate Housing Committee that would reorganize the ADU code section. This is something that I've talked about with this group in the past, but the reason this is happening is so that it's easier for us to in the legislature amend bills and amend the law without conflicting out other people's bills and laws. It's a really technical thing, but Jared's come through the reorg and has identified some challenges with the reorg. It's supposed to be completely non-substantive. That means there's no change to the law. It just goes from one place to another. But there's always typos and that sort of stuff. So we're working on making sure that goes through well. And then I'm hoping that we'll be able to provide you with an explainer of where everything was and now is, so that you can not feel lost in the new, what would essentially be a new body of ADU law that would say the same thing as the current body of ADU law.
So anyone who has tattoos of 65852.2 are going to be disappointed when they have to get all those changed.
I might get one. I mean, it's like a good tombstone. It's the real homies know 65852.2 and 22. So yeah, that one will probably no longer be used by the legislature, but will be forever in our hearts. So that is true, Jared. The bill that we're opposing quite vociferously and are asking you to send in petitions about and to sign our petition and send in letters on your organization's letterhead is SB 1055 from Senator Min of Orange County. The bill would say that current laws allowance that you build that current law allows you to build 2 stories. This bill would say that that allowance only exists in situations where the local government is not making progress on its regional housing needs allocation, meaning that how many stories you can build would vary jurisdiction by jurisdiction and year by year within that jurisdiction. It would make it really hard for California to succeed in standardizing building codes and planning codes, and in sort of achieving some scale with the nascent prefab industry here on ADUs. And it's really clear that the bill is intended to frustrate the development of ADUs. We really need to make sure that the gains that we've made in ADU law are preserved from one legislature to the next, because there's no guarantee that that happens.